This is Driving Solutions, exclusively on CPTnews.com.
When shopping for a car, customers today are met with more inventory than the past few years, but as prices lower, it's affecting gross profits. Today, we're joined in the studio by Aaron Bickart, who is the Executive Vice President and General Manager of OfferLogix, to tell us more about his solution for the industry. So, Aaron, thank you so much for stopping by the studio again.
Hey, Jim, thank you for having me.
Sure, it's been a while.
It's been a while. Hopefully you had a great summer.
I did have a great summer, and I hope the same for you. And over this summer, we have seen inventory levels creeping back up and dealers doing what they got to do to make deals happen, which means gross profits are coming down. We all predicted this. We sat right at this desk, and you kind of predicted this as well.
Yes.
So talk to us. What do you say about dealers out there? They're discounting now, right? And we're seeing that.
Oh yeah. Well, from our last episode, I don't know if you remember or not, but yeah, I mean, dealers today are discounting vehicles. Inventory is at an all-time level.
Yeah.
They're back to the old days.
Yep.
Almost. I'll just say almost.
Right.
Not exactly.
Quite,
not
but,
quite.
Right.
But I tell you, I was just on the phone with one of the largest Chevy dealerships in the United States.
Okay.
And they're based out of Houston, Texas.
Okay.
And he was talking to me. He was like, 90 days ago, we barely had 50 Silverados in stock.
Yeah.
We have now over 300.
Oh my gosh!
But they're not all, done right. Exactly the way they should be coming in.
Wow.
Produced right. With the exact equipment that everybody wants.
Sure.
But they
still
have 300 vehicles. I said, well, my God, your floor plan is going to be outrageous.
That's right.
Coming up with the higher interest rates
right.
and everything coming. But he goes, hey, we're discounting vehicles, and if we have to, we'll go into net. Because we know if they live local, they're going to be coming back for service. So
That's right.
Back to the good old days.
The good old days.
Yeah.
That's right.
But the other big thing is interest rates. Interest rates are high
I know.
now, and they got to figure that out. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you hearing out there? Are interest rates really making a big impact in the bottom line of?
Well, yeah. I mean, you think about it. The average vehicle, 16% of us have a car purchase price of over $1,000. Right?
Geez, 16% over $1,000.
16% over $1,000.
Wow.
$1,000. But the other piece is interest rates are high. So OEMs and where OfferLogix is today. I mean, we get to see the subvented rates come out in real time.
Sure.
Not back from like JD Power Pin or anything like that. I mean, we're seeing it in real time.
Yeah.
And we're seeing lots of subvented rates coming now, rebates, incentives, and now you're seeing different types of things. I mean, back in the old days with the car dealership, most people did a selling price, and they sold that same vehicle for a lease as well as a finance vehicle.
Right.
But that's not a way car dealers are doing today. Actually, they're selling their cars differently. They're actually, finance vehicles are one price. They might be selling those as way discounted. Well, leasing, they might be trying to sell those at MSRP.
Ah.
So we're seeing
is that
a lot,
working? I mean, because of the difference in payment.
With the money factors and the residuals and stuff, they're trying to figure out what's the best way to go to market to keep their gross profits up.
Right. And are you seeing OEMs now jumping back into leasing with their subvented programs and their offers to get that customer to take delivery?
We do see it. It's not back in vengeance yet. I mean, it should be, coming, full speed ahead here.
Sure.
And leasing is the only way to go. I mean, think about it. At the end of the day, for the used cars, the more supply, the more out there, the more used cars there is, the lower the price for the used car will be. But we need to make sure that leasing comes back in full steam ahead. But that's not up to me. But I do see leasing coming back, especially in EV.
Right.
At the end of the day, I'm gonna think about what Tesla just did. About a month ago. I mean, Tesla, lowered all their prices by $20,000-$30,000.
Right.
Right. And you can qualify up to the $7,500 rebate.
That's right.
Or tax credit. I'm sorry, not rebate, but tax
right,
credit immediately. In some areas of the country, you can get up to $10,000 in tax credit.
Wow.
Right there at the purchase price of the vehicle.
Right.
So imagine $30 on $10,000.
Wow.
That's $300 off the price of a vehicle.
Sure.
Per month.
Sure.
And no one knows really what's going on with EVs. Them lowering their price. What's going on there too as well.
Well, that was my next question. Where are you? What are you hearing on EVs? I'm hearing some of the dealers that I'm talking to around the country are saying, it seems like we're forcing this market. We got, what's stockpiling right now are a lot of the EVs, right? Are you seeing that to be the case?
Yeah, well, depending on where you are in the United States, California is doing pretty good with it.
Right.
But but beyond that, you think about EV. The early adopters got their EVs. I mean, they're out there. They're flaunting them. Everybody wants an EV, but a lot of people still want their ICE vehicles, depending on where you are in the Midwest or wherever parts of Texas with the petroleum, in that area. I mean, can you imagine in Texas with all the petroleum?
Driving around EV, somebody's going to shoot you, right?
But you think about this, though. I just want to make sure everyone understands is that EV today, right, is we don't know what's going to happen, right? Because a lot of these OEMs are now adopting the same nozzle as Tesla. Right. So really what we are back, and you and I are about the same age.
Yeah.
And you think about this VHS beta days,
That's
right?
right.
Sony, and then you had JVC with VHS, right?
Yeah.
Who ended up winning, right?
That's right.
VHS. Why? Because they gave it away for free. Right. And then Tesla says, you know what? Use our charging system.
Yeah.
Use our Nexus system in there, and then you can make sure that you have all the electric that you need.
That's right.
So at the end of the day, it all depends on who's going to be charging that vehicle at the end of the day.
Right.
I think Tesla's going to win here.
Yeah.
In today's market, the way we sit today, I think Tesla's going to win.
Sure.
And that's why they're all the OEMs are going that way.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
If you had an opportunity to talk to the OEMs that make the decisions on this stuff, what would be your take on it? I mean, you've been around the business a long time. You talk to a lot of dealers. OfferLogix isn't dialed in with so many dealers across the country. What would be your advice to them? Should we pump the brakes, or should we keep building these EVs?
Well, I think you got to still build the EVs. I mean, you still have to go forward. I mean, technology. You have to keep advancing the technology. I mean, look at us with iPhones. Steve Jobs with iPhones and different things there. I mean, all of us almost have iPhones or Androids today. A smartphone.
Yeah,
we just call it, right?
Of course.
So you got to keep going with the EV. But the big thing is we have to get into that 450-mile range.
That's true.
That's true. That is the sweet spot. 400 to 500, 450 is the range.
Right.
And once we get to the 450 range, we're all going to be having it. And then the thing is, people are going to say, well, EVs are only good, for short distance. Well, that's not true. I mean, if you really want to go long travel and you want to drive and you want to keep going, go rent a vehicle from Hertz.
Sure.
Go rent one from Avis, right? You only need to have it for 2-3 weeks, right?
And the worst case scenario is that you do find the car tells you here's where the next charging station is, right?
Yeah, but it's very unreliable today in the infrastructure, right? But the Tesla infrastructure is very reliable.
It is.
It's the other ones that are not reliable, and that's where the bad rap's coming.
That's right.
But reality is, if you want to go drive somewhere for 8-10 hours, go rent a vehicle from Hertz.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
And you don't put that miles on your car, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So somebody told me once, that a friend of mine, he said, oh, well, EVs, I mean, it's kind of for the well-to-do out there, right? And this is a guy that's, making pretty good money. And he goes, no, I see EVs as they're very expensive. And is it still perceived out there, you think, as kind of like a...
Well, they are expensive. They are more expensive than a regular vehicle.
Right.
But if you think about this for a second. I mean, a lot of people don't think about the reality. If you drive a Range Rover, a Tahoe, a Suburban, or any of these F-150s, Silverados, or whatever it is, your average gas bill every week is about $100.
That's exactly right. That's what mine is. So I have a Range Rover, and that's what mine is.
$100, right? So just say it's $100.
Yep.
So that's $400 a month.
That's right.
So now if you can get into a EV, let's just say an F-150 Lightning, or let's say maybe another a Rivian or whatever it is, you're now reduced that electric bill, that gas bill down by $400. So now your payment might be $200 more.
That's right.
But now you're saving $200 on the other side.
That's right. Or even if you end up spending all of that money in an EV, in a car payment, look at what you've got, right?
But the big thing is you got to be careful because the government is coming after the EV owners. I mean, they are going to be taxing you.
Yeah.
Texas just passed a law. Every EV that's sold, they charge you an extra $500 right there on the spot. Right? That's a tax law. Because they're not making the tax money on the petroleum.
That's right.
So you got to think about that too as well. So what is that tax going to be? It's going to be $200. It's going to be $300.
Sure.
It's going to be $500. What is that number going to be? But I can guarantee you the U.S. government will be coming after you for that extra tax. You can't escape Uncle Sam.
My daughter and her husband both drive Teslas, right? And they have now for maybe the last 5 years. And I was just talking to them the other day. I was at their house, and I said, "Imagine the price of this gas just keeps going up." And they said, "Oh, we don't know what is the price of gas. We don't." Exactly. I'm thinking to myself, "Wow, that's a nice position to be in."
Exactly.
And then it dawned on me, that's right. They're not even concerned about the price of gas. It's not even part of their dialogue.
No,
right?
They charge their vehicles at home, and
that's
they might go to their office. If they go to an office, and that's it.
Yeah.
And if they go long distance, they probably fly somewhere.
That's exactly right.
And then they rent a car.
Yeah.
And they go from there.
That's right.
Right.
And if they sometimes they'll go down to the beach from here in Atlanta, and they said, "Yep, the charging station is about 30 minutes out of the way. We don't really care.
Yep.
We drive the 30 minutes, charge up the car, get a Starbucks coffee, and then back on the road.
And
it's
back
not that
on
big
the
a
road.
deal.
Yeah, that's it. It's a beautiful thing.
Unreal.
Yeah. I mean, EV, ICE, but they're all both going to be here forever.
Right.
So they're never going to both go away.
So we kind of touched on it a second ago, but should consumers be leasing versus buying? What is your take on that? I mean, obviously it does.
It's just one man's opinion. Here. So on lease, I believe everyone.
If your friend calls you and says, Aaron, what should I be buying a car or leasing a car?
Leasing an ICE or a EV?
That's a good question, right?
Right.
Let's say it's an ICE vehicle.
An ICE vehicle, it all depends on the price of the vehicle.
Okay.
First of all, think about this for a second.
Right.
An ICE vehicle costs $100,000. A truck, $75,000 to $100,000.
Yeah, of course.
The moment you leave the lot, what happens?
Yeah.
It depreciated,
That's
right?
right.
You lose about what, 20%?
Yeah.
Right, immediately. So let's just say it's $100,000 for easy math.
Yeah, yeah.
That means you lose $20,000
That's
immediately. You leave. So on an expensive vehicle, I'm going to recommend that you lease the vehicle.
Okay.
Right. On an inexpensive, I recommend that you buy the vehicle.
Okay.
Depending on your income level and often how often you get rid of the vehicle.
But you're better off owning that vehicle if it's a little bit cheaper.
If it's less expensive. I say 50 to 60,000 should be like the benchmark.
Okay.
And then after that should be financed below and then leasing above that.
Right, right.
But it all depends on how often you get rid of vehicles and every 2-3 years, all that type of stuff. But now EV, I think you should lease them all.
Okay.
Never buy an EV.
Okay. And why?
Well, first of all,
that?
it's new technology. Technology changes fast.
Right.
They're lowering prices on EVs at the present moment. You qualify for the $7,500 on all EVs.
Right.
Doesn't make a difference.
So just look at it as a monthly payment that you have, and then turn that vehicle in 24, 36 months, and be done with it. Don't worry about anything else.
And here's the best part about leasing an EV: you get the $7,500 plus all the other tax credits.
Yeah.
If you really want to own it, wait 30 days, call the bank, and then you get to buy out anyways.
That's right.
Right at the end of the day.
That's a good point.
Right.
That's a really good point.
At the end of the day.
So talk to me. You're all over the automotive industry. You're going to conferences. You're working with dealers. What's on your schedule for the next few months?
Yeah. So
really, here we come in the last quarter.
Yeah. So on the next few months, I got the Automotive State of the Union conference coming up.
Yep.
So we're going to be there at the end of September.
Yeah, it's a great event.
Great event with Kyle and Paul, and then I'm going to be at Digital Dealer for a couple of days. I'm going to walk the show there and see.
We'll be there. We'll see you there.
Yep. Hopefully, I'll see you there. And
absolutely.
And then go to Brian Pash on Modern Retailing Summit.
Okay.
In November, and then I was going to go to Autovate. Unfortunately, my son. Teams qualified for the state championship.
Got to be there for that
in Tampa that same weekend.
That's pretty cool.
Sorry, Cliff.
And then January, we're back at NADA.
NADA,
right?
end of January, February.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, we already bought our tickets, hotels. We got everything ready to go for our project.
That's great.
Yeah.
So dealers, you heard that. Get your tickets right now because it's filling up. This is the time everybody goes into conference mode. And it might be tough to get a hotel room at some of these events.
Yeah, and then we also then used car week's coming up too as well.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, that's a great event.
I'm on the bubble going to that.
Yeah. So will OfferLogix be making any big announcements at any of these? What say you on this? Anything going on?
Yeah,
M&As or what?
Yeah. I mean, we are in talks with a couple companies right now for M&A.
Okay.
We are looking.
You want to make any announcements on CBT News?
Not today. But we are looking at a couple companies to acquire
to enhance your product
to enhance
offering.
our solutions and broader our market.
Okay.
We are doing that, and we have a couple big partnerships that we just signed.
Really?
Wow, that's fantastic. We're kind of on a gag order until I can mention it.
Then you will be the first to call me and tell me that, and we'll get you on the air again.
Yeah. Well, actually, the two are pretty big. I think everyone's going to be pretty surprised.
Can you tell us if it's publicly traded company or private?
Both. One's public.
One is okay.
One's public and one's private.
Good.
Yeah.
How about the Coons deal? That was unbelievable.
Yeah, $1.2 billion.
Wow.
Jimmy did a pretty good job.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, and Jim O'Connell did a good job, the president.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That was very impressive. And
that's right in my backyard where I live.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We had the Kerrigans on to talk about that deal, and they were very excited about it for obvious reasons. And but this whole business of M&A over the last 3 years has just been fascinating to watch, right?
And it's still hot.
Yeah, I know it is.
Even though interest rates are high.
That's right.
And everyone's complaining they can't get the money as they used to get, which I don't believe. But at the end of the day.
And is this because dealers, from what I understand, dealers are walking around with so much cash right now because of the last 3 years that they want to deploy it. And even if they're spending a little bit more than they should, they know in their heart they should be for that franchise in that market. They're saying, this is the business we're in. Let's do it.
Yeah, the blue sky is there.
Yeah.
Depending on the OEMs that you have and the land that you have.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, there's a lot of money still in the kitty.
Right.
I call it the petty cash drawer or the war chest. Right. But there's still lots of money out there because they've been sitting there and they lost a lot of deals to all these other people.
That's right.
So a lot of people, they're still trying to figure out how I can buy all these different vehicles.
That's right.
One of our largest clients, is a car dealer.
Yeah.
And they have 310 rooftops, Lithia. and I know they're always on the market.
Oh, I know, always.
Every time I turn around on automotive
exactly.
news,
They're unbelievable.
They're buying something.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we get an email into our support, add this stores.
Yeah.
Add these, add these.
That's a nice client to have.
Yeah. So
wow.
So
that's great.
Yeah. So
and it's this race to get this done. You got Asbury and Lithia kind of like challenging one another,
Well, I think they're all challenging one another. Lithia, Asbury, Penske,
That's right.
AutoNation. I think they're all going, Group 1.
That's right. What's interesting is Berkshire Hathaway hasn't really done anything to add to their stores.
Not since Van Tile.
Yeah,
not since Van Tile, which was a $4 billion acquisition.
So let me ask you, what are you telling your friends in the industry? Because you're one of those industry insiders. You know what's going on. You can kind of see what's around the corner. And certainly from your perspective with OfferLogix, you also see everything that's going on from the OEM side and where the money's kind of headed. What's your advice to dealers today, if that they're listening, to say, you have your hand on the pulse? What's going on? How do we finish the year strong?
I don't talk to the dealers that much, but I do talk to the channel partners that serve the dealers.
Okay.
Right, and that's who our customers are.
Sure.
But here's the great part about it. I think what they need to start thinking about is how they can all get along.
Okay.
Right, the channel partners are all fighting to get market share.
Right.
Right, and a lot of these channel partners are flat.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I have a lot of channel partners.
Sure.
And I see that they're just, and I see other one going like this. So I say, why is this one going up?
Sure.
And then this one's staying flat or going down.
Yeah.
What happens is that they're not all talking to each other.
Okay.
And I think the big thing is if they can all figure out a way to get along.
Right.
And helped out the consumer and helped out the consumer experience, ultimately the dealer will win at the end of the day, as well as the OEM.
That's good advice.
Yeah. But I don't think they all get along.
Right. Maybe we need to form an association. For the vendor side of the industry, you've got NADA. Maybe there should be some sort of like an NADA for vendors that we can all. You know what I mean?
Well, I was asked to speak at a conference coming up, and that's what they wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
How only bring channel partners in.
Sure.
Because at the end of the day, when you go to these conferences, there's a lot of vendors there.
That's
right? A
right.
lot of channel partners.
That's right.
Right. But not invite the dealers to it.
That's right. Because this way you can talk a little bit more.
They want me to be more frank with them.
Yeah.
Right. And say, hey, this is what you guys need to be doing. Blah 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 blah.
Sure.
But then I said to them, well, there's no money in it for me, so
that's right.
I'm not gonna do that. I actually could.
Could it be your way of giving back, though, Aaron?
I do. I give back a lot.
Okay.
I give back a lot. I'm a very generous person.
I know you are. Yeah. And you're very generous with us and your time. So Aaron Bickart, Executive Vice President, General Manager of OfferLogix. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
Thanks for watching Driving Solutions, exclusively on CPTnews.com.